Hi, everybody. It is time again for Q&A Wednesday, the time when I answer your questions and the questions that my clients have. Seem to be the most interesting topics at the moment. So we've got a great topic today. Not gonna lie, the weather changed this morning and I am freezing. So it happened really fast in our neck of the woods. And I just came back from a little milder weather there in San Francisco. So it was great to be home, but yet, had a great time while I was there. So anyhow, we're back to normal. Actually, my life is slowing down just a smidgen. So I'm pretty excited to take a breath and really just kind of enjoy. I love October, guys. I love Halloween is like the best. I love fall. So, I'm ready. I'm ready for Halloween, guys. All right. So today we're going to talk about how to have long-term results. And we're talking about any health goal. I know most of us, at least really the common thread is a lot of people want to lose weight. And if you've listened to anything that I've done so far, you know that is not my favorite tool. The scale really doesn't give you all that information that you need to know. I'm not into losing weight. I'm more into losing fat or burning fat. So that's a better tool, but above and beyond, no matter what your goal is, there's some things you have to do to have long-term success. Now, when I start working with someone, people are really surprised to hear that I'm really not a fan of New Year's resolutions. It might be a great big busy season for me, but the downside is everybody has these really unrealistic expectations about what they can accomplish in a short amount of time. And not only that, they think that, they're going to hit their goal and then go back to what they were doing and they're going to maintain, where they've reached, which it really doesn't work that way. So we're going to talk a little bit, and I'm going to give you some tips and tricks in order to really focus on reaching your goal and staying there. I tell people all the time, it's not how quickly you get there, it's how long you can stay there once you actually reach your goal. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So, most of us at some point in our lives have either been on a diet or have work towards a goal. And whether we got there or not, I think the hardest part is that we hear all these gimmicks and all this garbage. And even with social media these days, there's so much garbage out there. You want to watch me roll my eyes again? Ugh. I start throwing things at my TV come January because I hear all of the gimmicks and the garbage and, buy this pill, buy this gadget, try this, and none of it works. It really is about doing the right things and taking the time, putting the time and the energy into it. So my first tip to you when it comes to having a long-term success with your goal is whatever you do whatever it takes to get you there, plan on doing that for the rest of your life. There's no benefit to being drastic. You can't drop 30 pounds in a month and expect it to be healthy and expect it to not affect your metabolism in a really negative way. Whatever it takes you to get there. So those of you that are planning on going keto, okay, that's awesome. Can you do that for the rest of your life? Because if not, once you go off that diet, you're going to go right back to where you were. And if it was drastic enough, some of these diets are ridiculous. I talk to people all the time who, when I get to them, they're eating 1,200 calories. For somebody who's 215 pounds, 1,200 calories is not going to cut it. Your body will actually just assume it's starving and you're not going to get where you want to go. As a matter of fact, as you eat such little calories, your body will kind of rebel because your body's goal is to survive. There's two things your body wants to do, whether you know it or not. It wants to help you survive and it wants to help you avoid pain. And if that's what it takes is for it literally to hold on to every fat store you have because you're just not giving it enough nutrients and enough food, that's what it's going to do. So, with the drastic calorie cut, it's going to pretty much destroy your metabolism. And that's why when people are done and they go back to eating regularly the way they were before, they gain it back plus some, because of course they're eating that same amount of food on even less of a metabolism. So number one, whatever it takes for you to get there, plan on doing that for the rest of your life. Okay. So make sure that it's realistic. It's something that you can do. There's going to come a time when you're going to figure out there has to be a balance, right? What are you willing to do, right? How far are you willing to go? And is it a quality of life? Are you happy? If I had to cut chocolate completely out of my life or never took a drink or never, had some ice cream, although my body doesn't really like ice cream, it'd be really difficult to stick with. So again, you have to decide how far you're willing to go. For those of us that have competed or have been in the fitness industry, it's a little different ball game. We know we can wax and wane with some things in our lives, but for the most part, you need to figure out what your lifestyle is, what it should include, and what you can and can't live without, and then decide where you're happiest. That's really, I call it the sweet spot, or a happy balance of what you can handle, and it's not even the physical part, guys. Most of us know the physical is the easy part. It's the mental and emotional part. I grew up knowing that, when I would get really stressed out, I would eat my feelings. And every once in a while, I still do that. I would eat. My unhealthy relationship came along with eating for stress or eating when I was bored. Excuse me. So, it's hard to overcome some of those things. And it takes time. It takes time to overcome some of those issues, or maybe that unhealthy relationship with food. It can't happen overnight. And again, remember, the mental and emotional is probably the hardest aspect of it. And not only that, in the recent, I know this is a problem everywhere, but it's just really come to light, especially this week. I find it fascinating that we all watch social media and what people are doing, and we see this blip in people's lives of maybe it looks like perfection. And then we compare ourselves. We're comparing our issues, the hard part of our lives, maybe some things that are happening in our lives that aren't so great, and we're comparing it to everybody's highlights. Not only that, guys, it's all filtered. So keep in mind that what you see there is not realistic, and stop comparing yourself to it, because it's not worth it. Not only that, who wants to feel like that? I don't want to compare myself. I'm me, and actually at this point in my life, I'm probably the most mentally and emotionally healthy I've been in a very, very long time. And I like who I am and where I'm going. And I do not care what anybody else thinks at this point. So, I'm happy to be working on my goals at this point. Okay. So number 3. So we talked about whatever you're doing now, you're going to have to keep doing, whatever it takes to get you there. Please be realistic in what your goals are and how you think you should get there. I also think it's really funny when people think, oh, hey, I need to drop 30 pounds. I should be able to do that like instantaneously. If it took you 3 decades to put it on, it's not going to take you 3 weeks to take it back off. So keep that in mind, please. Not only that, we talked 2 weeks ago about how that's not even healthy for you, because you can't create the habits that you need, and your body just won't respond correctly. Your body has to adjust as you go. So number 3, be okay with fluctuations. Whether you're trying to grow muscle, decrease in size, burn fat. Hey, Billy. You're going to have some fluctuations, and stay off the stinking scale, guys. People think, oh my God, I gained 2 pounds overnight. No, you probably just retained a little bit of water. You can't gain 2 pounds of fat overnight. It's virtually not doable. So stop letting that rule how you feel about it, and be okay with the fact that you're going to go up and down. Women, we cycle. The week before your period, you're probably going to go up a little bit because you're going to retain some water. It's normal. Stop basing everything just on what the scale tells you. I'm going to tell you, I've got one of those really super cool Nokia scales that tells me what my body fat is. It's not even accurate. At this point, I'm 12%, and it keeps telling me I'm 26 and 28%. So again, it's not going to give you all the information that you need, and it's not always going to be correct. So you have to keep that in mind. Okay, Billy says, on a 90-day transformation, any suggestions? Depends on what your goals are. That's a little bit of a tough one, because of course I'm all about the lifestyle. But you know what? I can give you a big tip. Number 1, drink more water. You know what? It's the cheapest, easiest, least expensive thing you can possibly do that makes the biggest amount of difference. And most people don't drink enough water. It's really difficult for your body to flush toxins and maintain efficiency and be healthy without enough hydration. And it's not just about the hydration. For those of us that are eating super, super clean. Hello, Marianne. It's about your electrolyte balance. So it's for those of us eating super clean, make sure you're adding some salt to your diet. We always hear, cut sodium out. Well, if you're eating a lot of processed food, it's because you're getting your sodium through the processed food. For those of us that eat super whole clean, I actually have to add salt to my diet to make sure that my electrolyte balance is okay, because it's water, sodium, potassium, and magnesium, and that's if you cramp a lot, especially when you're working out or even just in daily life, you might need to fix one of those. It's not always the sodium, or it's not always the water. Keep that in mind. Okay, so hopefully that helps, Billy. All right, number 4. You guys, come on now. Remember that he wants to know what's the number 1 thing to stay away from. Sugar. Not gonna lie, sugar. just on a tangent here, I just read a really great book, or I'm in the middle of a really great book called Syndrome X. And it really talks about, I love reading books that actually back me up with research with the things that I teach, because I'm like, oh my God, I teach that. And one of the things that it says is that sugar itself actually ages us from the inside out. It has a browning effect, kind of like when you cook meat. So I get it. Like, I love sugar. I have a sweet tooth. You know, I really try to keep that at bay because I don't want to look older than I am. So far, I look younger than I am, and we're going to keep up with that. But really, the number one thing to stay away from is sugar. And natural sugars is a better option, but keep that at a limit too. Even fruit, sugar, it still spikes insulin. So anyway, information for another time. I could talk all day about nutrition. Okay, so number 4. Remember that if it's too good to be true, it probably is. Come on, guys. You know what? There is no flippin' pill. There's no shortcut. If you don't put the time and energy, I really find it fascinating. People that come to me and they realize, oh my God, I actually have to do some work. Yeah. You know, there is no super simple, easy way that you're going to be able to reach your goal. It takes time. It takes commitment. It takes, you know, your ability to change some major habits possibly in order to get you going the right direction. So, you know, stop looking for some gimmick that they're showing on TV, or anybody who tells you that you could do it super fast and that that's healthy is full of crap, because it's just not. There are times and places for it to be more of a short-term option, but honestly, that's once you have the basics down. You know, at this point in my life, I find it fascinating that I totally can manipulate my body weight. You know, I can change how lean I am. I can grow at certain times because I know exactly what my formula is and how it works, and I can do it without being miserable. But for most people, they don't even have that part down. So you really have to get the basics down before you even attempt the shorter term options. I would rather you be healthy and happy and have a quality of life. Isn't that why we're here, right? Okay. You know, so on top of that, you know, make sure that you're learning correct nutrition and science principles and how your body works. People come to me every day and they're like, well, I heard that blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, does that even sound reasonable? Actually, usually my response is, and how is that working for you? You know, if it's not working, it's probably not right, or you're missing something. You know, I work with formulas based on science on how the body works. You know, a lot of it's experience as well, thrown in with a super healthy dose of common sense. But maybe we're missing a variable. You know, if somebody's really struggling to lose weight or to really lean out and get where they want to go and it's not happening, we might be missing a variable. It has nothing to do with the latest fat burner, which, by the way, is not a fat burner. It's a thermogenic, and those are two totally different things. Just because you take a fat burner doesn't guarantee you're going to burn fat. It just means you're going to burn more calories. All right, I'm on a soapbox today. Okay, number 5, be okay changing. You're going to have to change some habits. You know, part of it, if you ever heard of Pavlov's dogs, you know, it's part of psychology. You know, part of it is just a habit that you have. If you walk in the house every day and you drop your keys down and the first thing you do is pour yourself a glass of wine, that's going to be a really tough one to overcome, because every time you walk in the house, that's what you do, right? So you're going to have to replace those habits with a healthier, better option that's going to get you where you want to go, right? So just know, and I would only attack 1 or 2 habits at a time. If you try to change everything at once, as soon as you get stressed out or something major happens, you're going to throw your hands in the air and go, I just give up. I see it all the time. So one step at a time, guys. You know, you can eat an elephant one bite at a time. It takes time. So be okay with that. And that's part of being realistic as well. Next, you guys, it's okay to fall down. It's okay to get off track. It happens to me. It happens to everybody. I don't know where this perception that we have to be perfect came from, and as soon as we're not perfect, we just give up. That makes absolutely zero sense. You know, for those of us that have had children, and when they were babies and they tried to get up and they fell down, you know, we kept encouraging them. What happened? Where all of a sudden we went, well, if I don't, you know, my meal plan perfectly and I don't make it to the gym every day, I just give up. Like, I can't do it. Like, that makes absolutely zero sense. It's okay to fall down. You know, I've heard from more than one celebrity, it's not how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you get back up. Success is not perfect. It is messy, and it has to be. You have to learn from it. You know, I was talking to one of my my buddies today, and he was talking about how really everybody has an excuse, and everybody has, you know, I have kids, I have this, I have that. You know, you will remain the same until the pain of remaining the same is greater than the pain of change. So, for those of us, it's a struggle to change. Humans don't like change. Be okay with it, but don't give up. We might have to take 2 steps back sometimes, reevaluate, figure something out, and come back to it. But nobody got to the top perfectly. Like it doesn't happen. So it's okay to fall down. Just make sure that you get back on. Next one, find your groove. You know what? It's different for everybody. My goal with Facebook Live and with all the things that I do is to try and give you some tips that I've learned over the years, because I didn't have a mentor. I did have a trainer who was a very interesting person, but he had no information on nutrition. As a matter of fact, once I became a trainer, he used to come to me for nutrition information. It's going to be different for everybody. Like I said, I try to pass on things that are easy, some things that might help you get where you want to go, because it's taken me 6, 7, 8 years to kind of come up with these things. And if it helps anybody, I'm totally happy to share that information. Sean says he needs some motivation. I think you really have to have a goal that's bigger than your obstacles. I tell this a lot to people, because the hard part about a goal is that in the beginning you might be excited, but then once the motivation and the excitement has left you, you have to dig down and be determined to still reach it. That was one of the reasons I competed for, the last 6, 7 years, is I really needed something that I didn't want to get on stage and feel stupid because I didn't give it my all. Now that I'm not competing anymore, my goals have changed a little bit, and I do have some different things to keep myself in place and motivation, but I'm just like everybody else. My motivation still cycles and comes up and goes down, and sometimes around the corner, and maybe back to my house with a bag of M&Ms. I don't know. Motivation's a hard one, because you really do have to find something that keeps you excited about it and is bigger than your obstacle. So whether that's, I've even found situations where near-death experiences are not enough motivation for somebody to stay on track, which of course I find fascinating. But it really depends on what your goals and your priorities and your values are for that. So as it comes to finding your groove, again, it's not going to be the same. For what motivates me may not motivate you. That's why cookie cutter diets, cookie cutter plans don't work. Everybody has a different body type. I might try something that worked for her, but I'm 5'2" and 125 pounds. It may not work. So figure out what works for you, and again, find that happy spot or that balance. It's kind of like the whole, God, I see so much garbage on Instagram. I roll my eyes a lot. I'm trying to be better about not doing that, but I just see all this garbage and people think, oh, I'm going to follow her because she's perfect. Honey, she's 22 and never had babies, and all she does every day is works 4 hours at a barista. Come on, you can't compare that. So figure out what works best for you. When you do get off track, this is number 8, when you do get off track, which it happens to everybody, or if you find that you're a little too far in the wrong direction, go back to basics. Stop trying to reinvent the wheel or pick a new diet, or go back. I tell people, if you have gotten off track, are you tracking your food? Are you drinking enough water? Are you getting enough sleep? You're not making it to the gym 5 days a week. Fine. Can you make it 1 or 2? Start with where you can so that you're not overwhelmed. As soon as I get overwhelmed, I shut down. Completely shut down. And I know that about myself. So I have to back up and say, okay, what can I handle right now? And be okay with that. We talked a little bit about don't compare. Good Lord, don't compare. Don't compare. You know what? Again, what you're seeing on social media isn't real. It's filtered, and lordy, be you. Like, be happy being you. If you do not love yourself, you need to figure out how to do that. Because and I don't mean to sound derogatory, but how and why would anyone else love you if you don't love yourself? You have to learn. You're perishable. There is one you. There is only one you. Be happy with who you are. Figure out what makes you happy and makes you feel good and whole. That's what's important. You might get where that other person is and then realize that's not even where you want to be. So stop comparing yourself to other people. And one of my last ones, surround yourself with people that are in like mind, right? You've got to be around people who have the same values that you do. I don't go out every weekend and drink. I don't eat a pizza at every football game. I don't do those things because, first of all, that wouldn't help me with my goals. But and no offense, I don't tend to hang around people where that's all they do. Now, once in a while, it's great. I'll go to a party or, go to Vegas or go do something with friends. That's great, but I don't do that every weekend. People say, well, that's what makes me happy. Yes, but you can't be happy if you are dead. So, make a choice here. If you're healthy and you choose to be a little fluffy or whatever it is, and you're happy with that, that's great. But it's about having a healthy quality life. And not only is that affecting you now, think about what's going to happen when you're 60, 70, 80 years old. Everything that you have done up until now affects you as you get older. So, I want to find that happy balance of enjoying myself, enjoying my friends, enjoying things that I do, maybe having some traditions, like I love to eat Thanksgiving. But I also, when I turn 60, 70, 80 years old, want to still be functional, independent, and be able to move and have a quality of life. So that's kind of how I look at that is, I have to surround myself with the people that have similar goals so that I don't get off track. You guys, peer pressure, even as adults, is a real thing. Nobody's immune. So, keep that in mind. So, if I could leave you with one thing when it comes to maintaining your health goal, it has to be a lifestyle. It is not a short term, I'm going to do this and then go back to what I was doing before, kind of a gig. Now that I've been living this lifestyle now for 6, 7, 8 years, maybe 9. I have to do the math. The lifestyle is the easy part. Now I can choose to, I want to be a little bit leaner for the summer so I can wear a bathing suit and feel good about it. And over the holidays, I want to eat a little bit more because I love to bake and I love to enjoy my family. So I'm going to choose to live that way. But in general, I feel like I've got it down. It's taken me a long time. But I feel like in general, I've got it down. Now, that's not to say I don't have to do some maintenance. I do have to still, make sure that I don't get too far off track because again, once I start eating sugar, I can't stop. And I know that about myself. I have to not bring home things and have them in the house that when I'm having a rough day, I'm having a meltdown, whatever, that I'm going to reach for the chocolate or, the really unhealthy food. I have found my groove on that. And you guys, I'm here to cheer for you. That's why I do these. I don't make money from posting myself all over Facebook. I want to make sure that people know how to live in a healthy way and do it in a correct way and have that healthy lifestyle. We're all here to help each other. So, why not? That's what this is about. And I figured at one point in my life, wow, if I could figure this out, if I could go from 210 pounds to 125-ish, whatever the heck I am now, if I can do this, anybody can do it. So, no excuses. I am your biggest fan. I am your biggest cheerleader. So hopefully that helps you to figure out how to really live the best life that you possibly can. You guys, I get my best ideas from you. So please either leave a message below or message me directly and tell me if you have questions, ideas. I love it. I want to answer your questions. And if I don't know, I'm going to figure it out. So that works for me. Anyway, there will be Meals with Melissa this Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And again, if you have a great recipe, share it with me. I'd love to share it with you. I'm still eating those brownie bites. They are so amazing. Having a hard time staying out of those. But until then, you guys have an incredible evening. Happy fall. And we'll see you next week. Happy Wednesday.